By Hatem Bazian. He's a professor of Middle East cultures and languages at UC Berkeley. Really good to have you back with us, Professor. Can we begin with the growing international condemnation against Israel? Our reporter there was just outside the UK Houses of Parliament, which was the scene of a stinging rebuke by the UK's Foreign Secretary David Lammy. He was using words such as monstrous and extremist when referring to Israel's extended offensive and its ongoing blockade of Gaza. We saw a number of MPs in that chamber back up David Lammy and also call on the UK to do more. What do you make of this growing chorus of condemnation? Is it too little too late, or is it better late than never?
Well, it's both too little, too late, and it's better late than never simultaneously. This is almost reaching close to 2 years of Israel onslaught on Gaza. All indication that this is a genocide that has been unfolding. The UK, the European Union, the United States, Canada, and the rest of the Western world has been locked step with Netanyahu, providing the Israeli government with all the material needs to continue to launch the war, but also provided Israel for the diplomatic cover, whether it's in the United Nations or in the European Parliament and so on. So the fact that there is a break right now shows that the level of atrocities that has been unleashed by Netanyahu and his government is no longer at least tenable for both Europe and also we're seeing some in Canada and the United States, and a massive public opposition to the status quo of European governments. It's not coincidental that this past Saturday, almost 500,000 Britons were out on the street protesting, 100,000 in the Netherlands, Belgium, and across the world, as well as the United States. So I do think that there is a break within the consensus of Europe and other parts of the Western world that what Israel is doing is no longer defensible. And we will see whether this actually is going to expand into a total break with Israel's government and Israel's policy.
You mentioned the United States because the Trump administration has been accused of essentially giving Israel carte blanche to do what it wants in Gaza. Trump has even suggested a full takeover by the United States of the enclave. But more recently, we have seen Donald Trump acknowledge the suffering that's happening in Gaza. He's saying that people are starving in the enclave. What are you expecting from the Trump administration? Because behind the scenes, we're hearing that they are trying to urge Israel to allow the humanitarian channels to open up. But what do you think will Washington do here?
If we think about Trump has been indicating from even before his taking the White House that he wants the wars in the region. He wants the war in Gaza to end. He wants the war in Ukraine to end. He was very critical of the U.S. invasion of Iraq, that it wasted massive resources. It weakened the U.S. economically, politically. And his recent visit to the Middle East, he is a transactional president, and he sees there is a massive economic and political opportunities to be had across the region. The second part is that he found, or at least discovered, that there was attempts by Netanyahu to drag the United States into a direct war in Iran, which for Trump is something that he does not want to commit U.S. troops or U.S. military to a war with Iran. So I do think that there is in here possibly some daylight that is beginning to develop between the Trump administration and Netanyahu, who still, I think, operate in an understanding that he has total immunity from the United States. He still believed that he could muster the support, which I think he is wrong. I think the dynamics inside the United States, despite the fact that you have a massive support from the Republicans and the Democrats to Israel, I think confusing this with a carte blanche at this point, I think Netanyahu will be on the wrong side of U.S. policy, both in the region and with Trump positioning the U.S. across the world. So I do think that the Trump administration is pushing for an end of the war on Gaza, even though that Trump is floating these balloons of saying taking over the Gaza, development into the Riviera. I do think that those are statements that do not match the policy outlook of what Trump and his team wants to do, which is to bring an end to the current war in Gaza and engage in an economic project for the region where the United States will be the beneficiary, if we consider that the U.S. is competing with China in particular for expanded economic footprint. So I think that's where we're seeing this departure from the United States toward Israel. I do think that we might reach the point of the United States and Europe deciding or opting that their policy and national interests collectively is no longer attached to unquestionable and unconditional support for Israel. And we'll see the next few days and weeks will tell us exactly what are the steps that are coming forth.
Okay, Professor Hatem Bazian, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks as always for joining us on the program.
Thank you.